face mask off. It was killing me. So, but like skin glowing, right?
Really racist.
What?
No, like, they're racist.
Outrage from the gnarly girl group Katseye was targeted by freaks on Twitter who took it upon themselves to assume she isn't a US citizen and filed legitimate reports to ICE in hopes of getting her detained and deported.
No, seriously. We need to talk about what's been happening to Lara from Katseye, because the way she's been getting bullied online lately has crossed a line. This isn't regular stan mess anymore. It's uncomfortable, it's targeted, and if we're being honest, it's starting to feel racially charged. What makes it even worse is that a lot of this noise isn't just coming from random trolls, it's coming from people who are treated like icons. Let me rewind to where this really kicked off. There's a TikTok going around saying every girl group has an ugly member, and when I first saw it, I brushed it off. I was like, clearly not this group. Every girl in Katseye is genuinely beautiful. Strong visuals, real stage presence, confidence, the whole package. So I honestly thought the comments would say none of them. But then I opened the comments and that's where it got wild. Almost every comment was naming the same person, Lara. No buildup, no jokes, no subtle shade. Just people calling her out directly over and over again, saying things you don't just scroll past and forget. That's when it stopped feeling like messy fan talk. This wasn't playful or funny anymore, it was just mean. And people need to understand this part. Words stick. When thousands of strangers keep repeating the same comments about someone's face, body, or presence, that stuff hits whether people want to admit it or not. That kind of non-stop dragging really messes with someone's self-esteem long-term, and people act like that part doesn't matter. Lara Raj is in Katseye because she earned her spot, period. She competed on Dream Academy, made it all the way to the finale, and finished in second place. Nothing was handed to her, nobody carried her. She put in real work, and it showed. She's widely seen as the main vocalist of the group for a reason.
Next finalist, whose dream is about to become a reality, is from the USA. It's Lara!
Fans constantly praise her vocals, her control on stage, and the way she interacts with industry icons. She gives that idol energy without forcing it. She's warm, she's engaged, she's present, and people naturally gravitate toward that. And let's be real, representation actually matters here. Lara is an Indian-American woman of Tamil descent, and seeing her in a global pop group is a big deal. Not a cute little side note, but something meaningful. Fans have pointed out how her styling sometimes includes traditional Indian accessories, how her features aren't being erased or softened to fit some made-up beauty standard. That alone breaks stereotypes the industry has been pushing forever, which is exactly why some of the hate feels off. Then I started seeing comments saying most of the hate is coming from Indians themselves, claiming she's using the culture. And that's where it got confusing, because suddenly the narrative flipped. First it was she doesn't fit, now it's she's not doing enough. That switch up says way more than people want to admit. And that's when it finally clicked for me. A lot of people aren't even mad about Lara's looks. They're mad at the way she exists in the space. Another comment popped up saying people were upset because she didn't speak out about the Indian political situation a while back. The actress from Never Have I Ever got dragged into the same type of mess too, and that's when the pattern showed itself loud and clear. Because we've seen this play out before. Someone becomes successful, starts representing a community, and suddenly the expectations get ridiculous. Now they're supposed to be a full-time spokesperson, activist, and political expert on top of being an artist. And the moment they don't perform that role perfectly, the backlash starts rolling in heavy. And yes, caring about real-world issues matters. Nobody is denying that. But demanding that a young pop idol publicly navigate complicated political situations, or else be labeled fake, selfish, or a culture vulture is unfair. That pressure isn't advocacy, it's projection. And people know it. If you've spent enough time on Reddit or TikTok, you already know the truth. When certain people don't like certain faces in certain spaces, they hide that discomfort behind excuses and fake moral outrage. It's never just about politics, and it's never just about standards. Lara herself has even spoken about receiving racist comments, including someone comparing her to Momo. Yes, that one. And let's be very clear, that's not a joke. That's not playful. That's straight up dehumanizing, no matter how people try to spin it. Hearing her say that out loud hit different. And then there's another clip that honestly broke my heart a little. During a live with Mano and Daniela, same outfits so you know it's the same stream, Lara says she doesn't feel like she looks good. Mano and Daniela instantly jump in, reassuring her, telling her she looks beautiful, hyping her up like real friends do.
Who's Momo? That like creepy like
Who's Momo?
girl on the internet? That is... Who's Momo? Lara, you're beautiful.
I'm not really.
Lara, what are you talking about?
I didn't say I was ugly. I love my
You
face.
said you look ill!
Yeah, because at the moment I look ill, but I think I'm hot. And I know that.
Then why won't you show your face?
Because I'm not giving hot right now.
Then Lara says something that really stuck with me. She says she knows she's attractive, she just wasn't feeling her best in that moment. And that right there says everything about how deep this stuff can cut, even when someone is strong enough to keep smiling through it all. And you might be wondering how we know this actually matters. Confident people don't just randomly start doubting themselves on camera. Moments like that don't come out of nowhere. That kind of pause, that hesitation, it usually comes from pressure building up over time. From noise, from seeing the same comments again and again until they slowly creep into your head. That's why this whole situation feels so heavy. Lara normally comes across as confident and grounded. She carries herself like she knows who she is. So when you see her have even a brief moment of self-doubt, something clearly isn't adding up. That doesn't just happen for no reason. And let's be clear, her talent has not gone unnoticed. A lot of fans defend her loudly and consistently. Reddit threads have pointed out that Lara and a few other members receive a disproportionate amount of hate, and many people directly connect that to racism and anti-Indian sentiment. Those conversations didn't come from nowhere either. There's also been a lot of talk about how the Dream Academy documentary editing played a role. Some viewers felt the editing made her come off as arrogant or gave her a mean girl vibe. Meanwhile, people who actually paid attention say that interpretation was exaggerated and unfair. One clip even has someone saying, "When I first met Lara, I was scared of her. She had the moon boots, the short skirt, and I thought she meant business." But intimidation isn't the same thing as being mean. Once a narrative sticks online, people run with it whether it's true or not. And on top of all that, Lara publicly came out as queer in March 2025 through Weverse DMs. That moment was met with a lot of support. She later shared that fan support helped her feel safe enough to be open, especially since she was worried it could affect her chances of making the group. When you put all of this together, the representation, the visibility, the confidence, the openness, it starts to make a lot more sense why some people act extra strange toward Lara. There's something about her simply existing loudly and unapologetically that clearly makes certain folks uncomfortable, and that discomfort keeps showing itself in ugly ways. But here's the part that really matters. Lara is not the only one catching heat, not even close. If you scroll long enough, you'll see comments saying Megan should leave Katseye or slick remarks aimed at Daniela, with people heavily implying she isn't pretty enough to be in the group, and it doesn't stop there. Even Mano has gotten her share of criticism, which is wild because a lot of what she faced had nothing to do with talent at all. With Mano, it turned into this weird narrative about trust. People started saying she didn't earn it, that she wasn't dependable during the process, like they were sitting in the room making group decisions. And at that point, you really have to ask, what are we even doing here? This is a talented girl group, a visually strong one, and yet the same fan base is ranking, excluding, nitpicking, and tearing down the very girls they claim to support. You can't convince me this is just harmless opinions anymore. This isn't critique, it's bullying dressed up as stan culture. And icons really need to hear this part clearly. You do not uplift your favorites by tearing down the members standing next to them. You don't protect a group by isolating one girl and turning her into a punching bag. And you definitely don't excuse racist or demeaning comments just because they're typed with emojis and fake concern. At the end of the day, Lara is talented. She earned her place. She represents something meaningful. And she's handled all of this with way more grace than most people would. Megan is talented. Daniela is talented. Mano is talented. All of them are.
When I first met Lara, I was super scared of her. She was intimidating. She had the moon boots, the fur skirt, and I was like, oh, like, she...
I dealt with a lot of complexity, honestly, and fear, understanding my queerness and being able to voice it out loud. I came out when I was 14 to my loved ones and to my family.
So when the same fan base screaming "Protect Katseye" is also the loudest source of harm, that's the real issue nobody wants to talk about. When you really zoom out, this whole situation starts to look less like random fan chaos and more like a pattern that keeps repeating itself in pop culture. The moment a group gets popular, fans stop acting like supporters and start acting like judges. Every smile, every outfit, every pause on camera gets dissected like it's a trial. And once that switch flips, it's no longer about enjoying music or talent, it becomes about control. People start feeling entitled to decide who belongs, who deserves praise, and who needs to be humbled, which is where things get ugly fast. What makes it worse is how normalized this behavior has become online. People hide behind stan language, jokes, and memes to say things they'd never say out loud. They'll claim it's just opinions or honesty. But when the same names keep getting dragged and the same features keep getting mocked, that excuse falls apart. At some point, repetition turns into targeting. And once targeting becomes entertainment, empathy disappears completely, even when the person on the receiving end is clearly being affected. There's also a weird power dynamic at play where fans feel like they own these idols emotionally. If an idol doesn't behave the way the fan base expects, whether politically, socially, or aesthetically, punishment follows. Silence becomes a crime. Confidence becomes arrogance. Being reserved becomes suspicious, and the expectations keep shifting so fast that no one could realistically meet them. That pressure cooker environment isn't healthy for anyone, especially young artists who are still figuring out who they are in real time. Another uncomfortable truth is how beauty standards sneak into these conversations pretending to be something else. People rarely say outright what they mean. Instead, they use coded language. They talk about vibes, fit, energy, or visuals not matching, when what they're really reacting to is difference. When someone doesn't align with the narrow image they're used to seeing, discomfort shows up as critique. And when enough people repeat that critique, it starts to sound like consensus, even when it's rooted in bias. What gets lost in all of this is the actual purpose of a group. A group is supposed to be dynamic. Different tones, different looks, different personalities coming together to create something bigger than one person. But stan culture flips that idea on its head. Instead of celebrating contrast, it demands uniformity. Anyone who stands out too much or doesn't fit neatly into a box becomes a problem that fans feel entitled to solve by pushing them out. At the core of it all, this isn't about protecting a group or holding idols accountable. It's about projection. Fans projecting insecurities, expectations, and frustrations onto real people who didn't sign up to be emotional punching bags. Until that gets addressed, the cycle will keep repeating with new targets and new excuses. And the damage won't just be to one member or one group. It'll be to the entire culture that claims to love these artists while tearing them down at the same time. When it comes down to it, this whole situation should make people pause and really think about how far stan culture has drifted from its original purpose. Supporting artists was supposed to be about appreciation, connection, and excitement. Somewhere along the way, that energy twisted into entitlement. Fans started believing they had the right to control narratives, police behavior, and decide who is worthy of praise and who deserves to be pushed out. That shift is dangerous, especially when it's aimed at real people with real feelings. What's even more frustrating is how often accountability gets dodged. People will say they're just being honest, just joking, or just giving critique. But critique has intention behind it. Critique is about growth. What's happening here is repetitive, personal, and targeted. When the same members are constantly singled out, when the same coded language keeps popping up, and when the same excuses are recycled, it stops being accidental. At that point, it becomes a choice. And let's be real, idols see more than people think. They see the comments. They feel the shifts in energy. They notice when support turns conditional. That pressure doesn't disappear just because someone smiles on stage or performs well. If anything, it makes the emotional weight heavier because they're expected to stay polished while being picked apart in real time. No amount of talent or confidence makes someone immune to that. What makes Katseye special is the very thing some people seem desperate to tear apart. Different backgrounds, different looks, different personalities. That diversity is the point. That contrast is what gives the group texture and presence. Trying to flatten that into a single acceptable standard doesn't protect the group, it weakens it. You can't claim to love a group while actively trying to erase what makes it unique. There's also a bigger picture here that goes beyond just one group. The way fans treat Katseye today sets the tone for how future artists will be treated tomorrow. If bullying gets rewarded with likes and engagement, it becomes normalized. If silence is punished and perfection is demanded, authenticity disappears. That kind of environment doesn't create icons, it burns them out. At the end of the day, Lara has shown strength, grace, and professionalism in a situation that would have broken a lot of people. Megan has shown consistency, Daniela has shown dedication, Mono has shown resilience. All of them earned their place, all of them bring something valuable, and none of them deserve to be torn down for existing differently. The real question isn't about who fits or who shines the most. The real question is why some fans feel the need to dim others to feel satisfied. So now, I'm throwing it to you. Do you think stan culture has crossed a line from support into control? Do you think fans need to seriously check their behavior before it does lasting damage? And if you've seen comments that made you pause, what stood out to you the most? Let's talk about it. So before you dip, make sure you smash that like button if you're riding with us, tap subscribe if you're a real one, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single messy update. Trust me, you're gonna want to be here for the next video.